Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday this and that video. And for those of you who are new, this is a weekly vlog that I do to answer questions, let you know what's going on, lead you back to some old videos I may have, or let you know of videos yet to come, and whatever else I feel like talking about. So let's get to the topics of today, and the first one is the fermenting projects I have going on right now. So right back here, this, and then the one back there in the corner is a couple of gallons of wine that I started from the grapes I grew last year. So I've got to clean my freezer out, start making some more space for more things to come in, like the spruce tips I'm going to be harvesting soon, more blackberries, and more grapes later on in the season from this year. So I need to start turning those into wine. Now, because we live in a cooler climate with a shorter growing season, our grapes never really have a chance unless you're growing them in a greenhouse. They never quite get as sweet as they should, even after the first frost. So they're always pretty tart. But as such, they do make great wine grapes. And so even though we don't drink, I do make wine for several reasons. I cook with it, I use it for making extracts and more. And I have a video I did a few years back on the many uses of homemade wine, even if you don't drink, that I'll link to in the description box down below if you're curious. But anyway, it's looking really dark because that's how it looks when you first get it started. And I also find that freezing the grapes first makes it a lot easier to press the juice out of them later on. And so when I harvest them, I freeze them up in 1-gallon bags, and I know it takes me approximately 3 1-gallon bags to make 1 gallon of wine. Yes, that sounds like a lot, but that's just the way it is because you have a lot of pulp, which you can use to make vinegars or even just compost, and I've done all of the above, or feed it to my chickens. So anyway, that's what's going on here. I got a couple gallons of that going. I still have more grapes I got to work through. And then, of course, I have a couple of vinegars. You guys have seen these in some of my previous this and that videos. And this one here is the mango peel with dandelions. That one back there is just mango peel. That one's just about done. So I make vinegars. If you're new, I make vinegars out of anything. Pretty much, as long as it's edible, I'll make vinegars out of it. And right here, this kind of dark orangey red one, that one was actually made from grapefruit peels. And the funny thing about that is it turned really dark. I was surprised at the color. But I made this because grapefruit peel vinegar, or a lot of your citrus peel vinegars, can end up being pretty bitter. So, and this is made from scratch. It's not white vinegar where I added citrus peels to give it a nice scent. In this case, I do use organic as much as I can when it comes to that. But this is made because it's so bitter. It's not something I'm going to use for any food related product. It's something I use only for cleaning. And I think I'm going to use this one in my hair. It has a real nice smell to it. And then the other thing is, you see sitting here, this has been sitting for a couple days. It should be ready tomorrow. These are fermented eggs. I do have an old video from several years back that I'll link you back to, but I have a new one coming out. And since I'm 6 weeks ahead on my videos, which means I have 6 weeks worth of videos waiting to publish, which is another reason why I like doing these Monday this and that videos, because they're the only videos typically that publish within a few days of actually shooting them. Because I shoot them on a Thursday, publish them on a Monday. So that's another reason why I do this, is to keep you more updated on current things, since my other videos are so far out. But anyway, you can go check out the old video, but what I do recommend you check out first. And by the way, this is rosemary from my garden, thyme from my garden, plus some hot pepper powder from my own homegrown peppers, plus some red pepper flakes. So because they look cool when you add them in there. But anyway, the main thing I want you to learn about, if you haven't done it yet, is how to make your own fermentation starter. Now today I'm going to refresh this one. This one is actually made from ginger, which commonly is called a ginger bug when it's made from ginger. But I just call them fermentation starter because, just like the vinegar, I make them from anything that's edible. And especially if I'm just got extra stuff I'm trying to use up, like I've made it from citrus peels before. I've made it from dandelion flowers. And so that's what I'm going to do with this. Is I think I'll leave a lot of this ginger in here, but I'll strain some of it out and add some fresh dandelion flowers to it later today. That will just give it a boost. So I'm going to link you back to my more in-depth video I did on making and refreshing and using a fermentation starter. So I'll put that in the description box down below. Now, you do not have to use a fermentation starter for everything. A lot of people make kimchi, just like I used to do the traditional way. I never used a starter for my kimchi. A lot of your vegetables and things that you ferment, you do not have to use a starter. However, when you're doing the eggs, I do highly recommend using a starter for the eggs. So you can also use whey. And typically how it goes is a 1/4 cup of your fermentation starter, be it whey or be it a starter like this, just of a liquid, you don't have to put the pieces in, to a quart jar. So for every quart jar, you're going to have a 1/4 cup. That should be pretty easy to remember. So that means when I'm doing a whole gallon of wine, which especially since the grapes were frozen, I really need to add a fermentation starter to that. So anytime you've frozen your whatever it is that you're wanting to ferment ahead of time, you need to use a fermentation starter. It may not ferment at all, or if it does, it may not ferment very well. So a whole cup of fermentation starter when I'm doing a gallon. Now you'll see these both have a little bit of space in them. That's because I'm still going to add another cup of sugar. But if you're interested in winemaking, I'll also link to the full winemaking list down below because it is a series. So anyway, check out those videos for more information, especially on making the fermentation starter. So moving on, I wanted to show you real quick. This is last week I was talking about how I was starting to dehydrate rhubarb. Well, I wanted to show you this. This right here, this is a pint jar. And what you see here is about a 1/2 cup of dehydrated rhubarb. What this represents is 4 average size stalks of rhubarb, which means if you're just talking the average size rhubarb, you could fit 16 of those once dehydrated into 1 pint size jar. Now, if it's fresh rhubarb, I can only fit about 2 average size stalks into a jar this size. So that just gives you an idea of the space that dehydrating saves. You're going to save 8 times the amount of space doing it this way. So just a little thing I wanted to throw out there. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, I'm really excited. I've mentioned this in a couple of the this and that videos. I still am going to do a standalone video down the road, but Nakano knives that are made in Japan, I was sent this knife right here. Well, actually, one just like this one. And just to try it out and then do an honest review, which, just so you know, I don't promote anything I don't believe in. And I've always wanted to try some good quality Japanese-made knives, and so I was really happy to give this a try. So I've really been loving this Santoku knife. I love the shape of this, the size. It's great for a lot of things. Well, I told the company I'm going to be doing the standalone video, but I would really like to try at least one more knife first, and asked if they would be willing. Well, they ended up sending me out the whole set of 4. And so this was the main knife that I wanted to try, this smaller one. I think it's called the Chisana. And so it's more of a smaller precision knife, but it's not a paring knife. So to me, this is a perfect size for me for most things right here. I've only used it a couple times so far, but I'm in love with this. This one's perfect. And then it also came with a bread knife, which we do use bread knives a lot. And though I haven't used this yet, I'm going to be making some homemade bread tomorrow, and I'll be trying this out. But I can tell by the heft of it, it's definitely, even though my other bread knife was pretty good, I can tell this one just by the weight of it, the feel of it all the way around. This is a really good quality knife right here. And then of course here's your standard all-purpose larger knife right here. I don't typically use this size and shape as often, but I definitely will be putting this to use. So I just wanted to show those. And yes, they're going to be more expensive. They're a quality Japanese made knife, but I do have an affiliate link that I'll be putting in the description box down below. And I think you save at least 10% by going through that link. And then plus that helps us out a little bit too, because we always earn through affiliate links, we earn a percentage from the sales, and that's always nice, like with our Mother Earth products and the EMP shield and the garden stock, some of the other things that we use. And just know that I'm not going to promote something that I'm not happy with. If I'm not happy with, I'm going to tell you I'm not happy with. Feel free to wait if you're thinking about purchasing that. Feel free to wait until I've had even more time to work with this, and then I do the standalone video where I'm going to try to be a little bit more thorough and show all the different knives and give my, just giving my honest opinion of each one. So, and they also have a set that comes with steak knives. And by the way, this is just one of the different sets they have. They have a lot of beautiful sets, but I love this one the best. This is the olive wood handle, and it happens to be the least expensive set on there. And it was my favorite as far as the way it looks. So then another thing I wanted to show you is that I'm starting another Afghan. Actually, I have two that are in the halfway through the process of making, and I need to finish those out, and I had to put them on hold because I ran out of a few different colors of yarn that I needed for both of those. So I had to wait for my next yarn order to come in. And so now I'm back to work on those. So one is the rose one I talked about, which I have a video coming out on how to make that rose square, by the way. And then the other one is another of a tulip row Afghan that looks like this one is completed. The only difference is the flowers that I'm putting in it are just a more pinkish purple. And so it's turning out real pretty. But anyway, I have made this more Southwest looking Afghan before, but I have not used these colors before. And so I was anxious to at least get one square made so I can really see what it looks like. And I just love the whole pattern. And I'm thinking about doing a video just on how to make this square as well. But anyway, this particular pattern came out of this book here. I bought this book years ago. This and another one similar called A Year in Afghan. I don't remember which year this is from. But I've made quite a number of the Afghans in this book as well as the other one I have like this. So I will go ahead and link to this down below. But here's a picture of in these colors, what the Afghan should look like completed, that I actually took the screenshot, the picture from the picture in this book. So there's the instructions. So if you're interested in that, there's a lot of other great Afghan patterns in here. Anyway, I think this will be a fun one. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet. I may sell it. So if you're signed up for the email notifications, and because I will be selling some of the Afghans I'm making, some of them are going to go in an auction. And this one I haven't decided yet if I'm going to sell it or put it in the auction for the carrying place or even gift it to a friend. I haven't decided yet, but I'm loving the way it's looking. So anyway, if you're interested in possibly purchasing an Afghan or any of my other crocheted items as I finish them, you can sign up for the email notification list by emailing me at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com. And at that time, I'll send you the full product list because it also includes the other email notification list so you can sign up for. So moving on, the other thing I'm going to start doing today is dehydrating this year's eggs. I actually still have 1.5 gallons of dehydrated eggs for my chickens from last year. Even with 9 chickens that are 4 years old and 6 years old, I'm still getting way more eggs than I can use. I have 2 main people that I sell my eggs to, but even then, I've still got eggs coming out my ears. So I'm not only fermenting them, I do like dehydrating them, because what if something happens and I lose my whole flock? I want to make sure I have eggs on hand, and dehydrating is my favorite method. So now that we've got all the sun, I'm using my Nesco. I use the Nesco when we have a lot of sun, so we have a lot of solar power. So this time of year, I do all that outside so I don't heat up the house. And I actually prefer the Nesco for dehydrating liquid items like eggs, because I can stack this right where I want it without having to move it, pour that in there, put the next tray on, pour the eggs in there, and so on. And I think I might do 2 to 3 trays. I can't remember how many eggs fits in these. I know you can fit more in here than you can in the Kasori one. So it might be like 5 eggs, maybe 6. So we'll see today. But anyway, I'll be doing that. And if you're interested in the video I have out on dehydrating eggs and how I do it, I'll link to that video as well down below. So yeah, you dehydrate them up, you vacuum seal them. They should last for years like that. In fact, I would say that as long as they stay sealed, they'd last indefinitely. In fact, I had eggs I kept open in here in this cabinet, the ones that I was working through, and they never went bad. And they were in there for months and months. So, and that was not vacuum sealed. Some were in there for at least a year. And anyway, dehydrating is my favorite way to preserve eggs right now because they take up the least amount of space. It's easy, and I know they're going to last for a long time. And because I dehydrate at a low temperature and they're raw when I dehydrate them, they're going to have a lot more uses than pre-cooked eggs that have then been dehydrated. Okay, and a couple more things is that I am going to start putting together another new collaboration, photo collaboration with my subscribers. So if you're doing a lot of canning right now, start taking some pictures over the next couple of months of your canning projects. Make sure they're good, clean, clear photos, and then you'll just email them to me under the title Canning Collaboration at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com. Send them all in one email. Please do not send me 5 or 6 different emails with one picture in each one. But with that, I have to really point this out, and this goes for no matter what you're emailing me about. If you're using your cell phone and you're emailing me, that's fine, as long as you're emailing me with your email address, preferably from your email address. What's happening late in the past year, a lot of people have started sending me emails from text as a text message. So they're getting on there, they're going through their text message and sending it to my email address instead of sending it from their own email address. Well, what happens is all I get when you do that, I have no name, I have no email address. So it's very important that if that's the only way you have to email me, at least make sure you get your name and your email address put in there. But it's most preferable that you just send me the email from your real email address, because then I can just reply directly. Here's what happens. It's not even just that I don't know who you are or that I don't have an email address. I can reply to that, but very few of my replies ever get through to people. I've only had a couple get through, and I'm surprised that even those get through. But what's happening is I'm trying to email to your text message on your phone, and it's just, in probably about 99% of the cases, it doesn't work, especially if I'm sending a lot of information like you've asked me for a product list. Well, it's pretty long because not only is it the product list, but I have 2 other sections that are added to that are details. Like I have a section that's all details about the colloidal silver generator and another that's details about the vacuum chambers. So people can read through those and understand what they need or don't need when they purchase these items. I can't send that from email to text message to a phone. It's not going to work. You won't get it, and you'll think that I'm ignoring you. I've tried so many times. So I can't do it unless I have an email address. So anyway, that's it for my this and that for the week. And don't forget to check out the links I'll be putting in the description box down below by clicking on more or show more somewhere down here, depending on what device you're on. And any thoughts or ideas you'd like to share, put them in comments down below. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.